Hello everyone, Captain Mick here again. Today I'm going to show you how to make a car with larger than normal wheels. First, I'm going to get this thing up off the ground so I don't have to build right on the dirt. And then I'm going to build a gold platform on top of it. I don't know where all my blocks are here. I don't have this stuff memorized. So you have to decide how long you're going to make the vehicle. Well, that's kind of crazy stupid long, isn't it? Let's go about that big. And how wide? Let's just go 5 on each side. Okay, so I'm going to make these numbers even. So I'm looking at my scaling tool over here. I'm just going to make sure that there's nice even numbers. The reason I do that is because then when you go placing another block on top of it and you've got your snap turned on, you can easily snap right to the corner. Now if you have that number kind of weird, if you have it at a half number or an odd number even, let's see if an odd number can show you that. So then 0.5, yeah, that still snaps. But if you bring it down to 0.5, you make it just off by that. Now you're off by 0.25, which is fine. You can adjust by 0.25, but now it's not an even move number in the auto selection there. Okay, so now I'm going to, the reason I use gold is, obviously it's nice and strong. You want this to be the last block that breaks, because you definitely want to be able to maintain your chair as long as possible. A lot of times your chair gets swiped out underneath you anyway, but in hopes that it won't, we're going to go ahead and make it strong. And you need to get these are for the wheels. I'm going to go on these spikes here. They need to be far enough out so that you can turn your giant wheels. No, I'm not going to put little bitty wheels on here and drive around this giant vehicle with tiny wheels. I'm going to show you how to make the wheels a lot bigger. So I'm going to use kind of the standard wheels. I'm going to use the front wheels. And I'm going to use the front wheels for all of these. Okay, so there's a nice little shape to start with. That'll be the kind of the chassis of our vehicle. Get down and find the regular wheels. So I'm not going to use old wheels for this. I'm going to use front wheels. Not front and back, but just front. I'm on a keyboard, so I have the ability to key these things so that I can turn the back wheels differently than the front wheels. And that allows all the wheels to turn at the same time. Allows a lot better control. Okay, so there we go. We got all of our front wheels on. I can put my seat on there now. You'll notice I grabbed a pilot seat. I'm going to try to put it about in the middle. You can really find the middle by going over this, and you just look at the little dots right there, and you line those two dots, the bottom one and the top one, up with each other so they kind of disappear. And then you just put your mouse around on top of that little dot right there, and you switch to your build tool and click. You're centered. So now I've got a seat that's nicely centered right there. I had better find a save slot for this. I'm going to need it. Oh geez, what am I going to save over? Okay, I think I'm going to have to buy another save slot, I guess. Can't think of anything I want to delete right now. Maybe this guy. I'll do that. New car. Good enough. Okay, so I'll show you how to bind these things. Now, Now I'm going to wait for later for that. It doesn't really matter right now. Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can make your wheels larger. If you place a block right in the center of this wheel, then you scale the block. Watch the wheel. See the wheel's moving right there? So if I do that, sometimes the wheel moves back, but if I move it out, I'm always kind of concerned that it doesn't move back exactly to where it's supposed to be. I've had bad experiences with that stuff in the past. So you don't necessarily even have to have wheels on here while you're doing this. You can just delete the wheels and put them on later. You can also just kind of go around the wheels. So you can place a block back here, and this is all to try to make sure that the wheels are centered and just as perfect as they can be. So I'm going to move this out. So now that wheel has free movement. Okay. So I can place blocks right on top of this one. So now this is going to be my starter block, and later I'll move all of these blocks that has the new wheel. I'll move it into this plane, and it'll attach to this wheel. I will place the wheel then afterwards. I'll replace the wheel, and that'll center the wheel on the new hub of the tire. So for right now, I'm going to switch to 15 degrees. This is about the right way I want to have that set up. Switch that to 2, and we'll hop up here on top. This is so I can kind of zoom back a little bit, and then I'm just going to hit T, and I'm rotating, placing, rotating, placing, rotating, placing. I think I might have actually succeeded with that. Kind of went fast, but it looks maybe okay. It's alright. That's about what I want. So if you watched my earlier video, you saw how I made circles. Essentially just doing the same thing right here. I'll figure out how big I want this to be. So I want to leave it so that it doesn't touch the ground when I'm done. And I want to leave it so that eventually I can put some other wheels on these spokes that are sticking out here. So I'm just going to stop at 16. That sounds pretty decent. That's a pretty good sized wheel. For no apparent reason. You can stop wherever you want to, just make sure they all line up. So first I'm just going to do 2 of them, and now I start the little tweaking process to get them to line up right here in the middle. None of this is terribly important that it match any other numbers. You just need to make sure that you take all the gap out. And then this one matches that one. So right now I've got a 3 and a 295. So I'm taking a closer look at this junction right here to see how this is lining up. It looks to me like I'll pull this one back to 295. So now they both match each other. And how's that look? Gigantic gap. Okay. So it's like maybe I need to go halfway between that. So I'm going to go 0.02, for instance. Go up here. I'm going to tweak this one. Now I'm just going to watch this number over here. So I should tweak it up by 2, and then I'll change to this one, and we'll pull it by the same amount and check the gap. Looks like there's still a gap. So for this you can do a couple of different things. I'm going to go back to what I was at before. I'm going to do this a different way. So I've got this giant gap now. I'm just going to go ahead and move it 0.05. Go ahead and move them back in. Because, like I said before, it doesn't have to be 16. It can be whatever we want it to be. as long as it all lines up. I think that's pretty darn good right there. Get up here a little closer so I can see it better. I think it looks good like that. It's probably the most important part. This is how you make your wheels round. It's how you make them perfect and smooth so that they look right and they run smooth. Okay, so 295, that's our number. So really it's 0.95. But I need to adjust by 0.95. Okay. So since I have that number, I can go ahead and pull this one out and pull that one out that way. So this is the final width for every one of these blocks. Pull it out, and I'm just going to keep going like this, and we'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, now that I have all of those pulled out, they're all the same width. Go around and just kind of check to make sure they look right. They look good to me. So now I can pull them out to their length. You can see that I'm at 15.8, so I need to subtract 2 because they're already too wide. So 15.8. Dang it. 8. Yeah, what did I do? 13.8. Okay, I must have hit enter. So now I can pull this out. And you just grab each one of these and pull them out to their radius. Okay, now I got a big fan looking thing. Now we can bring them into the same plane. And this is the part where I want to make sure that I get them lined up with the wheel where they're supposed to be. So I'm going to go to 2. Maybe 1 would be better. And I'm going to grab them and move them in. That's probably pretty good. And I'm just going to leave them at 2 width. Bring them all onto the same plane with each other. I wonder if that's an even number. Can I do it with 2? No, I have to do it with 1. That's okay. So there's advantages and disadvantages to using different materials for this core of the wheel. Weight is a thing that you can kind of factor in here. If you make these wheels really heavy, they can be nice because they won't break as much. However, they're also a lot heavier and takes more torque to turn them, and they don't turn quite as fast, and you'll have to fight torque that makes you go down the river and torque that makes you flip over will kind of fight against each other, and it's kind of a balancing act. Every bit of that helps to make your vehicle unique and different than anybody else's vehicle. Doing this out of plastic, because I've never actually made wheels out of plastic like this before. I've never made a vehicle with entirely plastic wheels. I do a lot of plastic building because it essentially weighs nothing. It's the primary reason I like it. The other reason is that interference, visual interference, where you can get picket fencing effects and visual artifacts from the overlapping of the textures on the blocks, and it can just create a visually unappealing kind of look. Plastic is really good about lining up, and you can overlap it, and it doesn't show any visual artifacts. So that's always kind of nice. It also takes colors really nicely. They're pretty rich colors a lot of times, but you can make a lot of really reliable colors out of it. Alright, almost done. I think I may have shrunk one or two of these a little much, or maybe not made them quite right. I need to make sure. Wow, I actually did better than I thought I did. That's good. So you notice the one block that I started with, they're still hanging out. We'll leave that there for a minute. We're going to use that. So now that I've made it to this point, I'm going to hit save real quick. Just for fun. You could test that wheel will spin at this point. I'm pretty sure it will. So I need to bring some of these guys out to make essentially spokes for the wheels. So I'm going to go ahead and leave 2.8, and that's an interesting number. Start with 15.8, leave 2.8. So I'm going to do like every maybe third. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I'll do like that. Kind of has a wagon wheel look to it. Don't have to do this, I guess. You can make it nice and solid and just leave it that way, especially since it's plastic. But I'm doing it. I like the way it looks. Bring that one in and put this one out. There we go. Better. It's totally a wagon wheel. Ooh, maybe I should make a covered wagon. Oh, that'd be so awesome. Okay. Finally just now figuring out what this is going to be. Okay, there's a wheel. Decorate it? No. Gonna add wheels to it. So yeah, adding wheels to the wheels. So I'm going to use old wheels. These are pretty cheap, easy to get a hold of, beginning of the game kind of thing. Use match rotation, and then I'm going to figure out how I need to rotate this. I'm going to turn this to 90, and it looks like one notch. I'm also going to offset them just a little bit, so I'm going to make sure they're centered in each one of these things, and I'm going to stick them out. So those wheels are touching each other. I'm not sure if they're actually touching or not. You can go into the 6 tool and select one of them. Good thing about the old wheels is they have such a small region around them of interference. But yeah, I think they're probably touching each other. Not sure. Let's find out. This is going to be an experiment to see if that works. It might work just fine. So we don't necessarily need these wheels to do a lot of action for us. We're using these wheels for traction. So this is where traction is going to come from. And if you can imagine, this wheel hits the ground, hits the river, and it's set to, that one's off a little bit, and the wheel is set to 50 speed, high torque. It's going to really help to push your vehicle along fast. I feel like I had some interesting offset there, but I guess not. It's just hard to see with the lighting like this sometimes when the shadow gets in a certain place. Wow, that's way wrong. Alright, there we go. So, I want to see if this will work. So, I'm going to start the cloning process. And I'm going to clone this wheel a bunch of times.